Hey crew, it's Pitt, and we're back with some CogDet. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different because my internet's down. They're working on other people's up the road. It's cool. It'll be back in a couple of hours. But it's put a hindrance on me being able to package the app for phones. I was trying to get the Android stuff done today. Hopefully I'll still be able to, but it's a little bit more complicated than necessary, and I need the internet and tutorials. So, instead of doing that, I'm going to do this. And what we got here is, we're going to go through the basic definitions. We're going to go through and talk about these things so people don't have to watch a typology video in order to see what's going on with my system. I have changed the MBTI system. I have changed things in a logical manner that seems to work for typology. But it is not what you're going to be used to seeing in standard MBTI. This is not standard MBTI. This is changing psychology just a little bit. This will help people to better understand themselves. This will help people to better understand how they receive information, process it, and put it back out there. That is the goal of this, is to help people with their own mental health. This is to help you figure out what's going on with you. This is best done in a one-on-one setting where people can sit down and they can talk to each other. They can figure out the patterns of discussions and how those patterns lead into your type. It doesn't matter what you're conversing about. It doesn't even matter if you're trying to lie. I can still type you accurately with whatever. And we're going to talk about why that is a thing. Now, actually, let's back out twice. I don't have my mouse capture set up right. Let's go here. And we're going to look. This is all different than MBTI. MBTI has this column here, and it has this column here, but it is missing both of these columns. That has to do with whether you're a direct or informative, and we'll get into the why of that in a little bit. The FI to TI right here, this is how you actually receive, process, and relay information. It is how your brain works depending on where this is in this stack here. This stack is how you physically receive the information, process it mentally, and then speak it back out physically. It is what you see first to what you see last, and it actually works more like a waveform. We'll get into that later. That's a more advanced concept, and most people just, it's too much for them. Instead of these 8 slots, there's 16 slots. It's not that complicated. It's really not. It's all a logical progression. It all makes absolute sense. And it's all objective. The goal of this was to make objectively things work. We're going to go into the README right now, because at the bottom down here, you can pause this and read this if you need to. I'm not going to cover the top. We've done that before. But on this bottom, this is the part that I've changed. This is the part that we're going to show real quick. And we're going to talk about the different parts of it. Now, you could see here, this is the categories. You are either things or ideas. You are either organize or gather, tribe or self, control or movement, and direct or informative. These coins, I call it that because I got that from Dave and Shan. It's one side or the other. Everybody does all 8 of these things at some point. The goal of what we're doing here is to figure out where your main focus is. Do you mainly focus on ideas, which is grounded in the future? You deal in theories. You're impatient with testing. You seek possibilities. It's about the future, intentions, concepts. You talk about what people say, where they will go, and what they will do. You can talk about the reason why for an area of interest. And reality is somewhat flexible. They see the possibilities, so reality is more flexible. That does not mean that they can bend reality. Some people actually believe that. Whereas things are very much grounded in reality. They are things that you can physically touch. It's dealing not with the concept of things, but with the actual things. When you're dealing with the concepts of things, that is an idea. But when you're saying that this is a lighter and this is how it works, that is a thing statement. This is a pen and this is how it works, that is a thing statement. What kind of pen is better for a situation is an organized things statement. Organization is how things are done, methods, rules, processes, professional and social norms. It is the rules by which we live by. I love my Pilot V5 fine tip pen because I am left-handed. And as a left-handed person, it is better for me to have a quick drying ink and a fine pen. Some people like wide. Some people like the other inks that dry slower. If you're right-handed, it doesn't bother you as much. But as a left-handed person, and if you're left-handed, you know this, when you write, you drag the ink all across your hand, and your whole hand winds up whatever color you're writing in. The V5 does not have that problem. That is an organized things statement. An organized ideas statement would be, I see the similarities in Christianity, Buddhism, and Sikhism, and they are this, and it all leads into this idea. That is an organized ideas. It is categorization of whatever, either things or ideas. If you're taking a bunch of things and narrowing it down to the best possibilities for either one of them, that is an organized ideas or organized things. Whereas gather is all about getting the new stuff. They want to know what's in it for me. What can I find new? I want something new. Why do people do things? They realize that they understand why the little ball is in the tip, whereas an organized person isn't concerned with why that's in there. They just know that this works best. Gathering has to have a clear reason for things. The rules matter if they make sense. If they don't make sense, a gather person doesn't care. They will just blow it off. They are don't restrict me. They like to explore. They like to test. Gathering things is physically going out and getting things to either give to the tribe or to keep for yourself, which is the next coin. Or gathering ideas is saying that, well, this guy thinks this, and this guy thinks this, and this guy thinks this, and this guy thinks this, without making a determination that this idea is the best one. Making the determination is the organized part. Everybody's got this. That is a gather. Always wanting to have the new shoes, always wanting to have the new cars, always wanting to have the new toys, electronics, whatever. Wanting to have the new thing is a gather sign. It is a way to tell. Now, when you either gather ideas or organize things or whatever you do in these 4 boxes, these are the 4 most important boxes, but that's not true. This is the hardest ones to figure out, because when you figure this out, then you can work on the rest of them. When you do those 4 things, those 2 things and 2 things, you either do it for yourself or you do it for the tribe. Now, doing it for yourself does not mean that you are selfish. I do self. Self is what I am. I am excellence focused. I choose to fit the action to the goals. I am independent. I am self-centered. And I'm motivated by personal achievement. I will ask you for forgiveness before I ask for permission. Those are all absolutely true about me. I like, if I get a new idea, I think about it for myself. I decide something about it, and then I share it with the tribe. Whereas somebody that is more tribe focused is going to care very much about what other people think. They're going to seek agreement with others. They're going to ask permission, not forgiveness. They believe in defined roles and to let the experts do. That is why you have the tribe, is so that somebody else can be specialized in this thing. They lean towards inclusivity and cooperation. That does not mean that all bigots or racist or any of the its or is's are self. That does not mean that at all. Your tribe could be your skin color. It could be your tongue. It could be whatever. That's your tribe. What it means, it's with the determining factor here is what you do with either the information that you gather or organize, or the information that you, or the ideas that you gather or organize, is you either give it to the tribe and tell them, hey, what do you guys think about this? Before you decide for yourself. Or you give them, like when you gather your groceries or whatever, you will decide what to get based on other people as opposed to what you want. Or you're self-sacrificing for the tribe. You give above and beyond to the tribe first. That does not mean that you can't take care of yourself. It is not selfish to take care of yourself. Oh, those a lot of people get confused with that. Don't. And there is no judgment in MBTI. There's a lot of people that will, well, my type is better than yours. No, they are all equally dumb. All of them. After you determine whether you're tribe or self, then you get into the control movement issue. You can determine somewhat by physical activity. I move a lot. I move so much that it manifests in my disability. Some people are very controlled. They will sit here like this. Loza Alexander is a good example. Loza, whenever he's spitting on the mic, is right up on the mic. He is not moving. He's not dancing. He might move in and out a little bit, but he's in that box, and he's going to stay in that box. Whereas somebody like Adam Calhoun is more of a, I'm going to walk over here, I'm going to walk over here, I'm going to walk over here. That is control versus movement. Control stays in their box. They also, the major determinant factor here is for control is they love order, they love routine. They have the stiff body language. Chaos causes them the distress. They measure twice, cut once, slow and steady. They eat, drive, and walk at their own pace. They're not impulsive. All of that is saying one thing. They like to control the situation. They don't like to change topics when you're talking. Like if you're talking to somebody and the topic starts to veer a little bit and they immediately snap it back, that is a control. Whereas somebody that is movement will go with that rabbit hole. Even if they are direct and don't like rabbit holes, they will still, they will move right along with you. And that is movement. That is the determining. This stuff is a good indicator, but it is not the determining factor. The determining factor is the control that you maintain over the situation or the flexibility that you have to adapt to the situation. We're going to go over to movement real quick and check it out. Movement focuses on improving the process. They're flexible on how that happens. They make quick decisions. They are very impulsive. The body moves a lot. It's restless. It progresses through chaos. Wait till the deadline. They hate stagnation. They need change. They're impulsive. They drive fast. They're in a hurry. I have had to work on a lot of these things throughout my life. We'll get into that next. I'm direct. I've had to work on that a lot, and that is why I'm doing the channel, actually. Well, one of the many reasons why I do the channel. But this is a breakdown of control versus movement, and it is more about the situation than it is the physical signs. But you can occasionally tell by the physical signs. 1 second. Sorry, I've got this thing in my throat and it's a problem. If you don't know, the reason my voice is like this is because I have a cyst in my throat. All right, now we're into the direct and informative. Direct is going to be that. They are going to talk direct. They're going to, the direct informative axis determines how information is expressed. Direct people are very task and time focused. They tell a story in as few words as possible without digging off into rabbit holes. My well, we'll get to that in a minute, is me not digging into the rabbit hole. That is waiting for the appropriate time to address the subject. That is the direct. They're comfortable with authority and assigning roles. I have no problem telling you, hey, go cut this wood, or hey, go drive this post, or whatever it is we're doing. I don't have a problem delegating that. They're very specific. I am very specific in my language. There's a reason why I argue so much over semantics. It's because words count, words matter. I'm a very direct person. I'm very specific in what I say. Inspecificity will breed problems. The more specific you can be, the less issues there are. They're also certain they are correct. That is my big problem. They assume people will agree with them. And they say it needs to be said a lot, and I do that. And then informative people are, they're your rabbit hole people. They're the people that when they tell a story, they can tell a story about going to get gas, but it's going to take 20 minutes. That is informative. That is like the easiest way to tell informative, is if they start telling a story and they veer off, that's informative. You can see through my presentation here, I'm not expounding. I'm going through the information, giving a few examples, and then we're done. That's direct. But if I was informative, I'd be like, motivation focused. Well, an example of motivation is this. And then when I get to the end of that, something else spurs me into something else. And then we just go chasing rabbit holes. The speech rambles, they go into rabbit holes in their stories. They're not comfortable in power, and letting others choose is something that they like to do. That does not mean that they cannot delegate or that they cannot be in a position of authority. They're just not comfortable there. That's not where they live. That's not where they want to be. Generally speaking, the number one thing to remember in this whole process is that people are different, every single one of them. And they all process information slightly differently, but they do it in a general sort of way. We deal with the general sort of way. And then from there, we can get into specifics. Like once we identify a type, then you can start figuring out, okay, well, if this and this interact, they do this. They over-explain, repeats from the same point from a different view. Indecisive, trouble narrowing choices. It's why they're not comfortable in leadership. And they hate being disrespectful. Like, I'm not going to be disrespectful to you unless you give me a reason, but I don't mind doing it. Like, I can pop off real quick. I just prefer not to. Informative people really don't want to. Let me see where we need to go next. I'm trying to get this as concise as possible. Okay, we're going here. This is where we're going. All right, now this is what I have changed in MBTI. First off, I developed the coins. They are really just a slight tweaking of the Big Five. The Big Five is not specific enough for me with my NI hero. They're not. And part of it's kind of useless. It really is. So I got to looking into the MBTI because that was useless. Like it did nothing for me. And then I found a couple of good sources on MBTI. The actual Myers-Briggs, complete fucking garbage. Complete. Like total fucking garbage. But some of the work that's been done since then is decent. C.S. Joseph does an alright job. He's getting a little bit rabbit holey here recently and off topic and not really on point with a lot of his stuff. Getting a little concerned for Chase. Dave and Shan went a different route. They have, I think, 264, maybe 512. Like they have a lot of different types. That's not necessary either. They're chasing some rabbit holes that don't need to be chased. So because neither one of those could logically work for me consistently, it couldn't. I cannot logically make their systems work objectively on people. I started tinkering. You can see I've got my chalkboard back here. I've got another board on this wall that you can't see. And if you see me looking over here, it's because I've got the grid on it. But what I did was I wrote it down. I did the SI, which I hate to do. And I organized the things. And I figured out where things needed to go and why they needed to go there. It took a good 2 weeks of doing nothing but that, which frustrated me to no end. But I got it. Like, this is the system. This is how it works. This is how it should have been worked. This is what Jung intended. And how you do it is, everyone can do everything. That is the main thing to remember. We're going to pick it up right here. And double extroverted is a thing. We're going to get into that real quick. We're not going to dig too deep into the types on this video, but I want you to see how the types are developed from this video. Going quick because there's a lot of information. I'm trying to keep it under an hour. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that. You're going to look for overall patterns while someone is in comfortable speech. If they are playing a part or acting out, it makes it harder, but it's not impossible. But if you can get somebody in their wheelhouse talking about things they enjoy, it is really simple to do this. When I did to Ryan O'Church, he got into his wheelhouse quick, and it was great. I've gone back with Ryan because he does so much content and double verified, triple verified the things that I saw objectively, and it all fits. It all works perfectly. Ryan is dead on. So what we're going to do is talk about how we get there. It's fun to be quick, but making sure helps. That's why I went back and double checked, triple checked. That's me doing the SI that I hate. You are either focused on things or ideas. That sets the first letter. If you are things, you are S. If you are ideas, you are N. Period. That's all there is to that. Some people make it a lot more complicated than it needs to be. It can get really rabbit holey really quick. But everything breaks down into either a thing or an idea. It really does. So that's the first determination. Once you determine whether someone is things or ideas, then you work on gather and organize. This is a little bit harder. But if they are gather, then they are a P. That's important because of the way that the grid is set up. I didn't want to change more than I absolutely had to. I changed a very little bit of anything. I just shifted some things around and made it work better. But the P and the J, the way it's set up, explains things well enough that you can do that. So a gather is a P and an organize is a J. And we'll talk about what that means more in just a minute. If you gather or organize or whatever for yourself first, then your first function is an I. If you do it for the tribe, your first function is an E. It's that simple. It really is. And then you're like, no, that can't be right. It is. It works. Watch. From there, after you've determined whether it's things and they gather and it's for self or tribe, controller movement determines whether it's how you deal with the information that you are delivering, not the information you're taking in. That's the first two letters. The second two letters is how you spit the information back out. If you are control, that is T. If you are movement, that is F. That's simple. I know, you're like, wait, what? It can't be that simple. Because in some of these other systems, it is not that simple. It really is. It really works objectively over scale. And then finally, direct and informative determines whether it is your third slot is introverted or extroverted. That's simple. If you're direct, you are trying to keep as much information introverted as possible. That's what that means. If you are informative, you're making the information extroverted. That's what that means. It's that simple. You just type, like that's how you type someone in 5 steps. Now, when I went and I figured this out, I was like, all right, now let's go to the letters. And all we had was this stack here and this stack here. And it didn't work. I was like, why? Why doesn't it work? And it's because of the double extroverted. The alternates is where the doubles are. You see right here, parent and child, I have two SI or two I's, an SI and an FI. In normal MBTI, that is not a possibility. The FI is here and NE is here regardless. Well, that is where the system was broken. This right here is the part that that confuses so many people. They try to do it in an awkward way. If you have the 5, and all of psychology agrees that there's 5 categories, they just type them wrong. Like they label them wrong. Introverted, extroverted is the dumbest shit ever. Yes, it is a thing, but it has nothing to do with your interaction style. It really doesn't. Introverted means that you deal for yourself first. Extroverted means it's for the tribe first. That's what that means. Directed informative is a little bit closer to what they think about. Chase has responding and initiating. That's a step too far. It breaks the system. 5 variables gives you 32 results every time. So this actually works in practical application. Now, like you can see the difference between an ESTJ, a TESI, NEFI, and an ESTJ alternate is TESI, FINE. That's just in how you deliver your information. This person right here delivers their information directly. You can tell that because of where their stack, like how their stack is built. This is the hard part of this system. Once you get this part down, it is easy. Now, I'm working on getting this app out where you can put it on your phone and you can just hit the buttons and this pops up for you. Good Lord willing, my internet comes back and we can do that. I'm not sure when, like they're working on lines. There's still a lot of people without. Something like 40%, at least 40% of my parish is still without power. Most of them, and a greater number, do not have internet service. So they're working on things. I don't have a problem with that. Like, I'll get my work done when I can. I'm gonna do my grind. I can do this offline. So that's why I'm doing this. This is a very, very basic understanding of this system, but I needed to get this out there. There's a lot of confusion about how it works, and I want to get this in as many hands as possible. This can help people. In the next video, we'll be going through these types. Not to a grand extent. We're still going to do that typing people, but I want to go through a few of them. We will go through my type, which is right here, and we're going to talk about how those things work together. We're going to go through my wife's type, which is right here, and we're going to talk about how those things go together. And then we'll go into my daughter's type and my son's type. And without getting into specifics about their life, we will talk about how the parts work together in a practical manner with someone that I actually know. It's fun to do celebrities. It's a great way to get the information out there. But I don't actually know these people. I haven't actually had a conversation with these people. And so any type that I do is entirely subjective. Now, if I sit down and type you, and we do this part face to face, it will not be subjective. It's not hit or miss. It's not maybe. It is objectively, verifiably something you're able to do. And that is my goal. My goal is to make this a tool that anybody can use to help themselves understand themselves. While I'm talking about that, it is better to have someone who knows you type you. You will lie to you every time. It's crazy. You're like, no, I won't. I want to know. I really want to know. And then you will label yourself the wrong thing. It happens all the time. It's because of your blind spot. It's because of your critics and your tricksters and your demons. It's because of your child and your inferior. All of these things trick you. Your mind tricks you. into thinking you are someone you're not. That is another problem that people have with this. They're like, no, I'm not an ISTJ. I'm an INP or an INFP. It's like, no, you are not movement, like at all. So yeah, that's another big issue with this. It's going to be hard. I'm going to catch a lot of heat behind this because I don't have any letters behind my name. I'm a guy that does this for fun. I spent my free time for 2 years learning this. And then I spent 2 whole weeks staring at a board, figuring out how to pick this stuff together. Because I'm an INFJ and I have to make the patterns work. That's what I do. We're going to wrap it up here. This, I think this is going to do all right. And it's only 30 minutes long. That's all right. We're going to swap back over. We are going to pick back up. I'm going to come back into this. I'm going to go check my internet first. Because I'm trying to get the Android packaged out today and done. But we are going to get back into this very soon. Y'all will be getting this very soon. The main goal of my channel was this. The reactions are fun. I am enjoying that so much. But my goal is to help grow the audience so that I can help people understand themselves. We're going to leave it there. So to the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me. We're going to change some lives. Praying for you every day. This has been Pitt's Take. Peace.